We're back, folks. Second review of the day with my co-reviewer.
I wasn't here earlier.
You made a brief appearance in my last review, although you did not watch that horror movie.
Oh.
But you did watch this
I forgot about
movie.
that. You're right. Okay.
This is an X-video rental from a place called Patterson Video Plus, 35 Del Puerto Avenue.
Okay.
The Edge, 1997. I'm talking about Titanic. So this movie came out, it's directed by Lee Tamahori, an hour and 57-minute runtime. This movie came out September 26, 1997. Titanic was released on December 19th of the same year and went on to gross hundreds of $1 million. On a $39 million budget, this movie grossed $43 million, so not necessarily a commercial success, and it probably has the worst box design. This is just so lame. I'm not a fan, and I'm not a fan of the title. The original working title for this movie was called The Bookworm, because the Anthony Hopkins is a millionaire who has like an eidetic memory, and he's a huge reader, and he remembers everything he reads. But then they ended up going with The Edge.
The Bookworm isn't really, that's not really mostly what it's about either, so.
But
both
it's
of
about
the titles aren't very good.
So this movie was filmed in Alberta, Canada. I can't even talk right now. Alberta, Canada, at the Banff National Park, as well. It was filmed in parts of Edmonton and British Columbia. Originally, Robert De Niro they wanted him to be the Anthony Hopkins role, but he said he just wasn't interested.
That would've been
They
cool.
also tried to cast Harrison Ford and Dustin Hoffman, who turned down the role of the Alec Baldwin character, which, you know, I thought he was great as a villainous guy because who loves Alec Baldwin, right?
I guess his wife might like him.
Hilaria? Yeah.
Hilaria
That's
Baldwin,
a whole nother
sorry.
story for another time, though. So,
Maybe she just tolerates him. Who knows?
the real standout in this movie is the bear. Let's talk a little about the bear. The bear's name is Bart.
The bear has a name?
He was born in Baltimore at the Baltimore Zoo in January of 1977, and he is a Kodiak bear. He stood at 9 feet 7 inches tall and weighed over 1,500 pounds.
He looked big.
He was in many motion pictures. He got one of his most famous roles was in a movie called The Bear, which is a Disney movie from the 80s.
Wow.
That's one of his most famous movies. Anthony Hopkins played in another movie alongside Bart the Bear called Legends of the Fall. And they said that Anthony Hopkins treated him like he was a fellow actor and would spend hours just admiring him and spending time with him.
The bear?
The bear was incredibly gentle. So gentle that they were afraid that perhaps he was too gentle to play a killer bear on the loose.
Oh my. They tamed the bear? Or
he was a friend. He lives to be 23 years old, and he died of cancer in the year 2000.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
That's sad.
But he was very gentle. What do you have there?
I've been dressing my doll while you've been talking. I'm in my late 30s, and I love dolls. So sue me. It's a little bit whatever.
I'm frightened.
Isn't it cute? If you like this outfit, it's on Amazon. The doll is also on Amazon. It's an Adora doll.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Huge shout out.
Huge shout out to Adora dolls. They're cute.
The bear,
And
I found myself, this is considered a thriller survival movie. Not well received. I mean, it wasn't like a famous, it was going up against.
Not well received?
It was going up against Titanic, right? It only
okay.
made about $4 million at the box office, but it came out 2 months before Titanic, and Titanic was just dominant over everything that year.
Titanic's,
right?
You know.
So,
that makes sense.
like I mentioned, $39 million budget, went on to gross $43 million. The soundtrack is by Jerry Goldsmith, who also did the soundtrack for Alien, and it's basically the same soundtrack as Alien. I feel like he just rehashed it for this movie. Wow. Rotten Tomatoes, 62%.
Okay.
Which I thought was low.
That is kind of low.
IMDb, 6.9 out of 10. But I enjoyed, huge shout out to my neighbor Kyle. He recommended this movie. He came into my archives and he's like, I remember seeing this movie as a kid. And I said, okay, well, I haven't watched it and I own it. Let's put it on and see if we like it. And it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it. I feel like there was some unrealistic things. Cause it's like, how long were they in the forest? A couple of days. Spoiler alert, they killed this bear. And then all of a sudden they're Grizzly Adams wearing his pelt like mountain men. and they're making these very elaborate bear traps from the stories that Anthony Hopkins had read in his mini readings. It just seemed like it was a little too fast for them to do some of the stuff they
How
were
could
doing
that
in
only
a
be
very
a
short
couple
amount of
days? It
time.
had to at least be a week or two, right?
I don't know. It didn't seem like it was a long time.
Yeah, maybe not.
What do you rate this movie?
I feel like Kyle should be here reviewing.
Kyle's here in spirit. He said he was
I feel sad for that.
He said he was 7.2 out of 10.
That's
But
true.
we rate on a 1 to 5. So what's your 1 to 5 on this?
And he's at Cub Scouts right now, so
Huge shout out to the Cub Scouts.
So we told his rating. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5.
I agree with you. I'm a 4 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, I guess I can't say.
I think it's
fully
much
5
better
out of
than
5.
it's much better than a 62% that Rotten Tomatoes gave it. But
yeah.
it really isn't 5 out of 5. I think it's kind of cheesy at some points, but
It's like 85 to 90% though, not 62.
Yeah,
Rotten
these guys
Tomatoes,
are a bunch of
what are you
clowns. They don't
thinking?
know what they're talking about.
No, I don't.
My friend also remarked that it's a movie of the time. It does kind of have a 90s vibe, but it was very enjoyable. That's it,
boy.
folks. We're going to wrap up this review on The Edge because we got kids knocking at the door.
Really, The Edge? You couldn't think of a different
That's
movie
the
for a
name.
forest survival video?
I don't know. I thought that name was pretty stupid, too. And the
How
box
about
design.
Fighting the Bear?
Mayor, there you go, folks. Until next time, we'll see you then.